wonderful class.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Again, I'm Dondi, and we have Emma on chat. Today, we're going to make this fun gnome, and we have him, I think, listed as a wall art. But as you can see, he kind of sits up on his own too. So it's kind of a either or for you. So let me show you what I found at Michael's, and we'll get started. I guess we can go to overhead. All right, to start him out, I used our 2-inch by 12-inch wide by 18-inch long. This is our green FloraFōM sheet. And just a reminder, guys, that our foam is now made with post-consumer recycle. So we have recycled materials in our foam, which is good for everyone. The other thing you will need is 3 of the 18 by 22 squares of white cotton, and then a piece of this is just 20 by 20 is what I cut out of the material, and they have plenty of blue and white patterns, so you can pick your own blue and white pattern for his hat. We're going to need a sheet of black felt, and that is to cover his little feet. And then you'll need a sheet of white felt to cover his nose. And actually, guys, I'm going to show you how to carve his feet and his nose out of the scrap foam, so you don't have to buy any other pieces for that. We're going to get everything out of this block of foam. For his florals, I just really liked, this is I believe it's called hops, but I just thought that they looked like fireworks for the 4th of July, and also these little palm flowers. So you're going to need a stem of each of those, or I mean, any flowers are going to work for this. I just picked the red and white to go with the theme. And then I really liked this grass spray, I guess, white. It's kind of flocked. And I thought that kind of looked like fireworks too. But again, anything will work. And then I found this star ribbon there at Michael's that kind of fit the theme. And then you'll just need even a string, but I picked a little piece of red ribbon, and that's just to tie the top of his hat together. And then some of the tools you'll need: a pair of scissors, of course, to cut your fabric and ribbon. And we're going to need some kind of serrated tooth knife to cut out the foam. And then I like to have a ruler to lay down on the foam to cut next to. It just gives you a nice, straight, clean cut. We're going to use a pencil to score the lines to cut by. I know in previous classes, I've shown you to use a black marker. And then if you have watched some of my previous classes, I get black marker all over my hands. So I don't do that anymore. I use a pencil. And we're going to need, this is cloth covered stem wire. I think it might be 18 gauge cloth covered stem wire. That's what we're going to use to prop his hat up and hang him by. You'll need a few toothpicks just to attach his nose and his feet. You'll need floral pins, and this is what we're going to attach his beard pieces on with. You'll need a pair of wire cutters to cut your stems, and a low temp glue gun. We use low temp because some of the high temp guns just get way too hot and they melt our foam. They actually melt right into it. So just get yourself a low temp gun, or some of them have a switch that can be high temp or low temp, but you'll want low temp for our foam. All right. Get them out of the way and we'll get started. So first thing you're going to need is your ruler and your pencil and your sheet of foam. Now I've already cheated and made my marks. You can kind of see them on there. See how I've grooved the marks into the foam with the pencil. So you're going to measure halfway down your foam and make a mark at 9 inches on both sides. Make a mark and then just lay your ruler across there and just take your pencil and make a score line and kind of deep across there. And this is actually where his little nose is going to go, right there in the center. So up here, we're going to measure, it's a 12-inch sheet. So we're going to put a mark at 6 inches. And then just angle from your 6-inch mark down to your center mark and score off that corner. And then same on the other side, measure over 6 inches, score that angle. And then down here, you're going to measure from one corner, you're going to measure in 4 inches and make a mark. From this side, you'll measure in 4 inches and make a mark. And then you'll come from your center point down to that mark and make your score mark. And it doesn't have to be deep, you know, it's maybe 1/16 of an inch, maybe deep, just enough so that you can see it. And again, come to your bottom mark and your middle mark and score that. And now you have visual lines to be able to cut out and you're not going to get anything on your hands. So when you get all your marks in, you just lay your ruler on that score mark and take your, just make sure your blade is nice and straight. You don't want to curve it one way or the other because you want your edge nice and straight. And just a sawing motion. Follow along that ruler. So when you cut it, you might have a couple little spots that you don't like that are not real smooth. So just take your piece that you cut off, lay it up against your shape and just use it like sandpaper and it cleans that edge right up nice and smooth. And we'll get this bottom portion off. Just lay it on the line and again, clean it up a little. Remember, save all these. This is our feet and our nose. Right. So there's his shape. So your hat, and then down here with the flat spot, this is where the bottom of him, where you're gonna attach your feet. So feet. All I did to do his feet, so you just figure about how far out you want them to stick out. Mine aren't that big sticking out, but so just make a rounded foot shape. Just hand draw it. It's all gonna get carved away, but something like that looks good. And then cut that away. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're just hacking the sides off, getting that general shape. Now we're gonna take this, oh, you know what, first, and this was off the bigger piece on the bottom that I'm getting the feet out of. And we'll use the smaller piece for the nose. So if you want to use your other foot for a template, so you get them about the same size. Do we have people crafting along today?
We do. We have people from all over. We have a few from California, Florida, New York, Texas, Maryland, Massachusetts, and people are crafting with us.
Nice. Well, I'm gonna clean up my mess and let you guys get caught up.
And Dondi, someone mentioned that you are very fast. You are an expert. Well, why don't you mind slowing down some of those directions that you just gave us?
Sure. So, first of all, you're gonna measure 9 inches down the length of your sheet. You're gonna cut in half. That's what this line is. For this top portion, you're gonna measure 6 inches in from the corner, which is the halfway point of your sheet. So from that halfway point, you bring your score lines down to the center. That's what gets, whoops. That's what gets this. And I just cut out of the feet, but for this bottom portion, from the outside corners, you measure in 4 inches from each corner. And that gets you to these points. And then you go from the 4-inch point up to the side, and that gets you your bottom shape. And then out of this bottom shape, I cut these 2 feet. And out of this top piece, I'm going to cut his nose. So all I did to cut his feet was just took that piece of foam and just drew like a half circle or a kind of a oblong circle out of it and used one as a template for the other. Don't throw away all your little scraps, because that's what we're going to use to sand his feet down to shape. So you have this square top, so you can take your knife at an angle and just kind of shave down that corner. So you're like beveling the corner basically. So now you have a rounded side to it. Now take your piece of scrap, and if you do this over your trash can, you won't get it all over your table because it's messy, but it's fun. So see how that's making that nice and round, taking out all those cut marks that I just put in it. And you're just going to keep going until it's a shape of a foot, or the front of a shoe. I guess it's not really a foot, it's a shoe. But I have made feet with toes, and that was on the other gnome. If you want to look at my classes, there's actually another gnome, and it's what did we call it? A garden gnome. He's adorable, and I showed you how to make little foam feet for him. So cute. So that's all we're doing, guys. Just using this as a sanding block so that I can get this nice and round to make it look like the front of a shoe. So that's the difference. Just with the piece of foam, that's how much you can get it sanded down. So then again, for this top portion, to get that big edge off, I just take my knife at an angle and just bevel those edges off. And that's just so that you don't have as much to sand. It just kind of takes away the bulk of it. And then again, your big piece of foam. And then just every so often, look at the other one and make sure you're about the same size. Pretty close. Yeah. Not exact, but like one of my feet are bigger than the other, right? So then for the nose, same exact thing. We're just gonna make it round all the way around instead of like this one's flat on the bottom and flat at the back so that it can butt up against the wall. His little nose, we're gonna make a circle on your foam. Again, doesn't have to be exact. We're gonna sand it. So get your basic round shape going. Like so. And then do your beveled. And then you'll do your beveled on the other side also. How's everybody doing so far? Need caught up? My feeding through again? So same as your feet. We're basically just making a ball or kind of a squished ball out of this. That's how easy it is to shape our foam. That looks pretty good for a little nose.
Now, Dondi, is there a reason that you would use our XPS over maybe some of the other types of foam that we sell?
For this project, absolutely. You really can't do this with the other foams. You can't do this with the EPS, the smooth foam. You can't sand it. You can't shape it. And then our dry foam is just, it's too fragile. It wouldn't hold up. So yeah, XPS would be the best product for this project. All right. Try to get some of this out of here so I'm not getting dust all over my fabric and my felt. And then absolutely save those scraps of foam. You just never know when they might come in handy. All right. So we are going to start with his beard. So to get his beard covered nicely, I took a piece of the white cotton and it is about 17 inches long and it's about 12 inches wide. So you're gonna take the 17-inch length and you're gonna bring it across the front. But you want to feel where that score mark is, and you want to take this white fabric about, I don't know, 1.5-ish past that score mark. And that way it covers up past the nose so you don't see that green under the lip of the hat. So that's where that's going to go. And then you just want it to be able to wrap around to the back. And I don't have my glue gun turned on because, you know, classes started. What do I need a glue gun for? All right. So I don't have my glue gun on, so I'm going to pin this so we can keep going. But you would glue it on. And these are, did I introduce the floral pins? Yes, I did. Floral pins. Floral pins are found in the like the floral accessories with the, I think back by the wire and the glue gun and things. And floral pins are my friend. They work so well with our foam. So all I'm doing is pinning this on so it's tight around the front. I'm going to cut that edge off too. You can just take your scissors and just trim off this extra little corner because you don't really need all of it. And yeah, you guys will be gluing this portion. You don't have to worry about pinning it. It's a lot quicker when you can glue it, but you're just wrapping it around so that it covers the front and the sides of your gnome's face. Ta-da. Oops, maybe not ta-da yet. One more pin. There. Pretty good. Yeah, so it's about 1.5 inches past this score mark. And that'll be so you don't see it peeking out from around the nose. And then we'll do our nose next. So this felt is kind of stretchy. So I just center my nose so that I can get the felt all the way around it on all sides. Okay, let's do it this way so you can see what I'm doing. So you just want it to come up so far on all sides. So we're going to cut this down about 1 inch off that side. So maybe like I'll tell you, 2, 3, like a 7-inch square or so, depending on how big your nose is, I guess. That's going to be the. All right, so then just start pulling and stretching this this felt around the edge of the ball. And if you stretch and kind of wiggle it, it will actually stretch and form right around the foam. And the nice thing about our foam is that it grips the felt. So it almost folds it right on there for you while you're tugging. So once you get it all around the edge and on there nice and tight like that, you can take your scissors and just trim away all this extra. And as long as it goes around the edge, it doesn't have to cover the back. Of course, you're not going to see it. And then here is where you will take your, I cut it a little too short there. I'll just stretch it a little more. And here's where you would take your glue gun and run a bead of glue all around the outside edge of this felt. And tack it down all the way around. See if it's ready yet. A little bit. So yeah, so just take your glue gun and run it around the edge of your ball. And tack all those loose edges down. Any questions so far? Am I going too fast? So just like that, it's all covered up. And exact same thing we're gonna do with the feet. But the feet, we're gonna lay right on the edge. Because you won't have to cut, or you won't have to cover that back unless you want to. Some people like it to be covered, but same thing. So you'll run it along the edge of that back of that foot and then just start stretching it over the front of it. And you really got to stretch it. As you stretch it, it will pull out all those little wrinkles.
Sandy, while you work on that, do you have any great ideas to where we could keep our gnome this season? Should we keep it outdoors? Is it safe to keep outdoors, or is this an inside guy?
Sure, he could be outdoors. I mean, he's got fabric on him. So, I mean, as long as it's fabric that can get wet and dry out, I guess, if it rains. But yeah, he's safer outdoors. Our XPS is really sturdy and it will hold up outside. I guess it's more dependent on your florals and your fabric that you use. And I know that Michael's, they have a lot of the floral bushes that are actually like UV safe for outdoors. So it keeps them from fading as fast in the sun. So there's one little shoe. And the other one, same thing. We're just gonna lay it on the edge of the felt. Bring it up to the sides and stretch it around the front.
As a reminder, class will be available to rewatch on Michael's YouTube channel within 24 to 48 hours after class. But while Dondi's here, chat is open if you have any questions about the project while you're working at home.
Does anybody have an outdoor studio? Do they play with their crafts outdoors, like at a table outside? I've always thought about that. I'm like, I don't know if it would be distracting for me because I'd be watching the birds, or if it would just be nice.
Now, Dondi, would you love that in the snow here come December?
Sure, it'd be refreshing.
We have some crafters joining us from Florida. I feel like we may prefer to join them in the South.
Yeah, right. All right, and trim off all your excess, peel that back, put a little glue in there. Get all these edges tacked down. There, now you have a completed gnome body, nose, feet, and body, all out of one sheet of foam. Nice, one's a little bigger, don't look at that. All right, now this is where the toothpicks come in. So take one of your toothpicks put a little glue on the end and push it about halfway into the back of your nose. And that's just going to help secure your nose. And then you can feel with your finger where the little score mark is, and you're just gonna eyeball halfway, or you can measure. And then I just like to cut a little slit in the cotton so that I don't have to fight to get my toothpick through it. And then you don't want to push it all the way down yet. We just want it there so we know where to put the beard. So the beard, oh, first I'll do this. You're going to take your sheet of white and along one side, I only need to be about 16 inches long, and this is 18. So you could either cut 2 inches off now or just trim your beard later, which is what I did. So all you're gonna do here is just cut 1/2 inch, 3/4 inch slits about 1/2 inch apart. Can you guys even see what I'm doing? No. Okay, so along the 20, I think it's a 22-inch piece, along the 22-inch edge, you're just going to take your scissors and about every 1/2 inch, and again, it doesn't have to be exact, you don't have to measure, just every so often, put a little snip about 1 inch long. And that's just gonna do, it's just gonna start your strip for you. We're gonna tear them. Now, if you want the clean look, if you don't like that torn look, you can absolutely cut these 1/2 inch strips all the way across if you'd like. I like them torn because I like that texture and that wrinkled look that it gives them, but totally up to you guys. And then literally, guys, you're just tearing strips. All these strips. So you already cut out your little 17 by 12 piece out of one of them. So the other 2 pieces and the rest of what's left of your face, you can tear into strips. And some of the strips, like on the 17 by 12, are going to be shorter, but that's okay because we use shorter ones for on the side of his head or side of his beard. So that's it. We're just tearing strips. I don't really know how many you get because it depends on how wide the strips are. And then after you tear them all, you're going to want to pull all these loose guys off. They'll have a lot of strings. So just take a minute to clean those up. And I know that you guys are going to get behind right now because it's going to take you a minute to tear all the strips. But I can go back and remind you of steps after you get caught up. Just let me know and I'll repeat anything that you need to hear.
And Donnie, what size was that fabric that you used for the beard?
That's one of these. They're 18 by 22, I believe. It's like a fat quarter, I think they call them. Pre-cut squares. These guys. Yeah. So they're all pre-cut for you. And then you can use, I mean, you can buy the yard and just cut your pieces too. If you already have some white fabric, any white cotton. It has to be cotton though, because it tears nice. All right. So I cheated and went ahead and tore all my pieces so that we would have time to finish this guy today. So we're going to take 5 pieces at a time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get them all at the same length at the end there. You're going to take a piece of, or a floral pin, and you're just straddling it. So you're putting them right in between that pin. So on his under his nose, we're going to use the strip, but we're going to use the top portion for his mustache. See how it ends there? And then the bottom portion will be the rest of his beard. So I'm going to put this one right in the middle. You might have to wiggle your pins to get them through that cotton. And then this is what I mean by trimming it. So you can take off some to begin with, or you can just trim it as you go, which is what I'm gonna do, because then I know how long I want it. And then when I do trim it, I don't trim it straight off because I want it to be a little bit jagged like a beard. So I kind of cut them at an angle at a little bit different lengths, so they're not all exactly. All right, and then 5 again. And that's all we're doing, taking groups of 5. You can do more. I mean, there's not a reason I picked 5. I just thought it was happened to be what I had in my hand, I think, to tell you the truth. And it worked, so.
Sandy, if someone had a lot of ribbon laying around, would that be an option for the beard?
Actually, yeah, I thought about that when I was building it. Like even like red, white, and blue ribbons, or add a metallic silver ribbon in there so it has a little shine, or yeah, absolutely. Ribbon would be ideal. You wouldn't have to tear it, right? All right, here's another 5. And I'm leaving, I'm going to tell you how much I'm going to leave to hang over for his mustache portion is probably like 4 inches. So you want to split it at 4 inches for his mustache and the rest for his beard. And we're just going right up under this nose. Poke them right in. So yeah, we were talking before we started, how easy it would be to change this guy out for the different seasons by just changing the fabric of his hat and the flowers. You could change him out and do so many different things with him. You could even do a different color beard, do an orange beard for the fall, or I don't know. So many different things you could do. And what's nice about straddling it through that pin is if you get it in there and you want it a little longer, you can just pull it through the rest of the way. Or pull it back when you get it too long.
Sandy, it's that time of class today.
Oh, yay.
So here at FloraCraft, you've joined us before, you've heard this, but we love to make it fun. And so with the joke of the day, are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, just a little bit of backstory. I had to think about what summer reminds me of, and right now it feels like it's baseball everywhere. So we have a little bit of a baseball themed joke today. So Dondi, why are gnomes such good baseball players?
I didn't even know that. Geez, you got me. Why?
Because they hit a lot of gnome runs.
No runs. All right. I can, yep, I get it. Any other gnome jokes out there, ladies? Or I shouldn't say ladies. Do we have, I see a Marvin. I don't know. I can't see everyone, you guys. I'm too far away from my monitor. I say too far away. I just need glasses is what the thing is. But I'll say I'm too far away. Do we have gnome collectors? Is that why we have people joining today? I know a lot of people have a lot of gnome stuff going on in their homes.
It does look like we have some people that collect gnomes. So this would be a
Alright.
great option. You
For
can
sure.
make a new one for every season, just change it up.
Yep. All right, and then now, once you get enough for his little mustache, so that his mustache is showing. Now we can take them. And we won't leave that little 4-inch overhang. These will just be almost full length. Or I'm sorry, almost halfway. And then this is this will be his, like, maybe like his hair, I guess, coming down under his hat next to his beard. So we're gonna make that a little longer. So you still have this longer and this shorter. It just gives you some depth and some dimension, so it's not all flat. And then again, grab 5 more. I'm gonna make it through this. Woohoo! We got 15 minutes for real. Oh. All right. I better get to scooting. So just at different levels, and that just helps give it some dimension. I'm not even counting at this point. What happens when we go over an hour? Does it go blank? Time's up. See ya. I don't know. I don't know that I've ever done that. Michael's is going, excuse me. Sorry, Felicia. I'm in a hurry. I think they do come on and remind me. You've got so many minutes left. So anyway, you guys kind of get it. And we're just going to keep trimming as we go. I'm going to get him across this front, and then I'm going to start on his hat. And then I'll just tell you guys how to do the rest of his beard. All right. I'm going to stop there so that we have time to finish the rest, but you get the idea. And then we're going to cut shorter ones. You'd cut some shorter ones, and you're going to pin those along the edge just to cover that edge and give some texture on the edge. And you can trim these so that they don't hang so far on the sides, so that it's kind of tapered like a beard would taper around his little face. All right, and then his hat is about a 20 by 20 piece. And then I just tack glued a seam along the bottom so that you have a nice edge. Just put a run a bead of glue across the bottom and just fold that up so you have kind of a nice little seam on the bottom where it goes across his nose. And then if all of your beard is where you want it, you can take your nose and you're going to put quite a bit of glue on that toothpick and on the bottom of the ball, and then just put that right back in that hole, push it down tight. On his hat. Now this, if you are going to plan to change it out and do different hats for different seasons, then you can just pin this on the back. So just turn him over, put a couple pins in. You're gonna have to wiggle those. If you wiggle the pins back and forth, it kind of gets between those threads of the fabric and it's a little easier to poke them in. Just kind of rock it back and forth like that. And then I just took this guy, your wire. So just bend it in half, twist these ends together about a couple inches up, like so. And that's going to be your hanger and it's going to hold your hat up. At least I think that's how we did it. I think that's how I did it. Sometimes I forget they can hear me when I talk to myself. I'm really not talking to myself. Sorry, guys. Pretty sure this is what I did. So we're going to put that right in the top, and you want to glue that one in really well because that is going to be your hanger. So quite a bit of glue on that one. And then before I tie all this up, to get this little top poofy on the top, your little pom-pom like thing, I just took same thing as we did with the strips of white, and I just made little cuts. And then after you cut it, you're just going to tear it up about, I don't know, 3-4 inches. And that's just going to give you your little pom-pom on top. And you don't have to do this. It could be, I mean, you could actually put a real pom-pom on top and just cut this right off flush and put a real pom-pom on top or whatever. But this is one way to do it, so you don't have to buy anything else for the project. About like that. Then I take these two sides and just bring them up to this point. So it's straight up the sides, and then another pin. And then from that point, you're gonna take it and you'll feel the little hanger is in there. You can see the little hanger in there. So you're gonna wanna tie it so it's just enough of a hanger to put on a hook or whatever you're gonna hang it from. And then take your little piece of red ribbon and tie that off. And you could tie a little bow, you can make a little knot, you could do whatever you would like for that. Or you could use a little piece of fish line so you don't even see it. That's all up to you. We're going to take this decorative ribbon, and we're just going to trim it off. So you're going to cut probably like a 17-inch piece, 18-inch piece. And this you can pin on or glue on. If you're going to change it out, you might want to pin it. Just right along the base of that fabric, just to add a little something, something. Little color mostly. All right. So flowers. Or you know what? I'm gonna put these guys, I'll show you how to do these too. So for the feet, you want them right flush with the bottom of the body. And for this, you're gonna want, just look where they touch the body on either side. You guys see what I'm doing? So just look where they touch on either side. And you're gonna want to cut a little slit in the felt with your scissors and a little slit in the cotton so that your little toothpick can go in there easy enough. And you can use anything. You can use little wooden dowels. I know they have little craft picks, little flat craft picks, bags of them at Michael's that you could use. Just anything to secure the foot on. I'm gonna poke that right in there, about halfway. This one about halfway. And you're gonna add quite a bit of glue because you don't want them to come apart. Oh, might have broke my toothpick. We'll see. There's that. So it's just that easy to get. Broke that toothpick too. Oh, funny. Anyway, might need something a little stronger than a toothpick, evidently. All right. All of his little beard back down. He won't look naked. All right. Then flowers. So I put 2 of these at the top by his hat, and you're going to want about 1 inch stem. And when you put these in, again, figure out where you want it. Cut a little slit in your hat. And in that slit, you can put all of your flowers right in that little hole. So I had one, and you want a little bit of glue on the back side of these, unless you're changing them out, then you won't, because you won't be able to get them back out of there. But I had one just kind of facing towards you, and then one kind of angled up the hat. So it's kind of standing up that way, and one towards you. And then I put a couple of these in there, coming out from the back. So in that same hole, and a sprig going across his hat that way. And then in that same hole, we have a sprig. You gotta find the hole down the side. So it's kind of spraying out. And then a few of these guys on this other side. And then we have some down at the bottom too by his little foot, because you have extra. So if you cut a little hole kind of off to the side of his foot, we're going to add this last red flower just to bring that color down here. The last sprig of your white grass. That'll kind of poke up the side. Find the hole up the side of him like that. And then a few more of these little guys, or a couple of these guys if you wanted to put down there with it. There's room. And that is pretty much it. I'm gonna hold him up here and I'll let you guys ask any questions. I might have a couple minutes to repeat something if you need to, or I could show you real quick our upcoming crafts. We want to go our front view. Hi, guys. So here they are, kind of the same, a little bit different. Next project coming up is our summer arrangement. This is July 12th. So I'm going to teach you how to arrange this. Super simple, super fun, super easy, very, very few products to create it. Just a fun blast of color for your porch. And then the next one after that is our summer transitional wreath. This is August 9th. We'll show you how to put that together, and then I'm going to show you some fun things on how to make it even take you a little bit further into the fall, so you'll get a little more use out of it. And any other questions? We got that one right in the nick of time, I think, guys. All right, well, thank you for making it fun with FloraCraft. Enjoyed having you.